Actually sitting here today is my man Jimmy. And so, bro, I have to thank you from the bottom of my heart, but I'm also excited, bro, just to unpack what you're doing. Um, from the start of the journey, sort of to where you are now, and a little bit of just, a bit of behind the scenes stuff, which would be pretty cool.
Epic, man. Thank you. I'm ready to rock and roll.
Awesome, bro. So, Jimmy, my man, what got you to transition, bro? Can you give us a bit of a history about how you got into fitness for a start? And then from there, just a bit of a transition into, why you decided to open the inner circle.
Yeah, so I was a PT. At the start, I was crushing, probably like 25 to 35 hours of one-on-one PT. And then I bought a gym off a guy named Mark Richardson for like 20 grand at the time. It had like no members, and we kind of grew that initially from that gym with like 27 members to we had a main one that had like 520. And then we started to like open other gyms. So we ended up having like 3 gyms at our peak, about a little bit over 1,200 active members across those clubs. And then kind of what happened is like people started to kind of ask me how we did it, right? Like, what did you do for marketing and sales and that stuff? And I
Yep.
started to do a bit of consulting. And like the reason I left my gyms, it's probably like no one reason, but probably a couple of big ones is like I stopped coaching people in the gym. So it was all under management.
Mhm.
So I lost the passion. So towards the end of Code 5, to be really honest, I didn't give a fuck about it. I didn't know the clients. I wasn't in there. I wasn't talking to the trainers. I lost that love. And I'm like a big connection based person. So I wasn't like feeling it. Also, I had a few blues with like one of my business partners. I just fucking couldn't stand him. And then I was also doing coaching as well. So, um, when I was chatting to my wife about it, I was just like, look, I don't want to deal with XYZ. And this is how I'm feeling. And we wanted to be able to work from anywhere in the world and still get paid. Because even though the gyms are under management, when I had business partners, if anyone's had business partners, there's certain unwritten rules. And one of them was like they didn't like when I was overseas and shit like that. Then I just we were about to open a fourth one. I remember this real estate agent came over from North Sydney to sign a lease. And as she was driving over, like I'm sure you guys have felt it, your heart just fucking sinks like in there, and like my stomach was churning. And about 5 minutes before she came, we had like 3 business partners there. I'm like, boys, I'm out. Like, I'm not doing this. And then I eventually, wrapped up the sale. It was obviously, it was a pretty complex sale, to be fair, to piece out the 3 gyms, and then sold and, started the inner circle during, I think, the first COVID lockdowns in Sydney, I think it was a couple of years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, sick, man. Yeah, there's a lot there, bro, and it's like one of those things of like, massive growth, and it didn't come easy. And I guess if we were sort of unpack that a little bit, when you first started out, you took over the lease, and then all of a sudden, you were sort of like faced with this new business, and you thought you're going to go really well, but it wasn't necessarily that easy. Like you didn't just have nearly 4 gyms and stressed out because you're making too much and having a great lifestyle, which is a different kind of
Mm.
stress. How did you sort of get it off the ground, bro? And what sort of, I guess, allowed you then to outsource yourself completely from what you were doing?
Yeah, so like the initial phases, like we didn't know how to market, didn't know how to sell effectively and stuff. So literally what I did, I think at the time, I don't even think Instagram was around then. I think it was like Facebook and phone. So I essentially went through everyone in my phone, everyone on my Facebook account, everyone who had a pulse that lived within a 5-10K radius, and we offered them 3 free personal training sessions, which took 14 days to complete. And then off the back of it, like obviously a
Yep.
lot of them signed up, which was cool. And if they didn't, I'll just like, hey, deal man, I love training you. I want to have you back forever. If you know anyone that wants to come down. And that just started this fucking vortex of like what it was is like when I look back on it, I came out of a place of love that just I wanted to help people. Obviously, I wanted to make money off the bat. Like I wasn't purely doing it for free. But we just treated people really well, trained them effectively, got a lot of referrals, got us signups, and that got us to about I think from memory, about 127 members doing one-on-one PT of just delivering a good service and treating people, the way you want to be treated, essentially. So that got things like really cooking for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome, bro. And it was actually funny you say that because like that was the exact thing you told me to do when we started like share fitness and that. And like if it wasn't for that one little thing of like just fucking go and message every single person you know, give them an
Yeah.
opportunity to help them. And you know, that was actually, you know, I was sort of new to reach out to people, but the way you sort of position that, look, I just want to help them, you know, just get in front of people and give them an opportunity to work with you. It's pretty massive, eh?
Yeah, no, I didn't know this at the time, guys, and now I do because I've talked to a lot of people in the same position. But you know, back then I had like no experience, no testimonials, no results. Like, you know, I could easily say, oh, I'm worth 120 hour, but in reality, I wasn't because I wasn't getting paid that. So then I was able to just kind of like work up doing that, and that built us out to having a couple of trainers, which was pretty sick. But I think you know, one of the best things that has helped me on my journey is I've always understood really where I am in life and what I'm actually truly worth. So I've never let my ego get ahead of me and stuff like that. So we've been always open to every business I've started has always started off a free trial. And I'm very blessed to say I've created nearly 4 7-figure companies now. So always started free. Yeah. And if I started a fucking fitness business today, guys, I would be messaging all you guys offering you 14 or 28 days free and just convert off the bat 100%.
Yep. Yeah, massive, bro. Cool. And so once, man, you've sort of moved on from the gyms, now we sort of kicked off with the inner circle. And, you know, it was actually a free offer that got me involved with the inner circle, which was pretty exciting. And look, I have to say, and, you know, at that time, I was pretty depressed at the time. I didn't really realize too much. And, you know, our gym was just going sideways for about the last 3 years. Jumped on a little free trial, man. What? And that was sort of like got us on board. I remember at the time, there was probably, I think I was one of the first sort of 10, 20 people who got on. How did you come up with that free trial and what was sort of the thought behind that?
Well, just because it worked well in the gyms, right? So I
Yeah.
figure, you know, people don't do free trials unless they're actually interested. So
Mm.
just say, for example, Dom, if I was like, hey, Dom, do you want like 28 days of free fitness coaching to lose a couple kilos? He's not going to say yes if he doesn't want to be involved. So you get like
Mm.
reasonably qualified leads because even though you're giving something for free, like Carlos and Kira, they've got to give their time and shit. So you know, I did that because that's what worked previously really well in the gyms.
Yeah.
And I also like when I first started the business, and you guys would have been there, is I didn't have any systems. I didn't know how good it was and stuff like that. And I've always just been like, well, why would I charge someone if I don't believe in it? And as soon as like my belief starts to grow and stuff, I just start to charge what I feel like it's worth. But it's just
Mm.
like kind of a proven system I've done on like a lot of businesses we've started. So, and as I said,
Yeah.
I'll do it again if I started a new business today. Yeah.
Yeah, fucking notes, fan. And like if we sort of go through like the start of this, so I remember at the time like the goal, and it was not necessarily a scarcity campaign, but the thing you ran is like, hey, look, we only got 50 spots for the inner circle. And I just remember, man, there was such a buzz. Like so many people were just like, I was getting amped. Like all of my mates that were joining were getting amped as well. At the start of this, how did you build that momentum to what it is now?
Yeah, so that actually was the goal, guys. So I just wanted to
Mm.
earn like around 10K a month and travel around the world and stuff. But you realize the nicer places you travel that 10K a month actually doesn't give you a good life when you want to travel, depending how you want to travel.
Mhm.
So when we started to get the momentum off it, it was initially like we're kind of lucky because the fitness industry hadn't seen much like it for like what the value that people were getting for $50. And it just kind of
Mhm.
created this like whirlwind of people just like, holy shit, like I can't believe I'm getting all this ad stuff. So it was literally just making a product like so good and so unbelievable. And it was also unbelievably priced as well. That at the start we just created like a lot of buzz in the fitness industry. A lot of people were talking about it and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and it's mad, man. And like you sort of said at the start, your goal was just, I think it was to make about 5, 10K a month, whatever it was, travel around.
And
What
live
sort
off
of, I
my
guess,
email.
changed that? Yeah,
Um,
what sort of, why did you want to start with that? And then why did that change?
Yeah, so It changed all just because of lockdowns, because I was at home and I couldn't travel. So, you know, if the lockdowns didn't last as long, guys, I probably wouldn't be on this call with you guys. So I didn't plan it. I don't plan anything apart from like a month ahead. I'm not like a long-term planner, but it just kind of happened. I was locked down at home and I was like, well, fuck, I might as well keep working, because I could only leave like 2Ks around my house, I think. So I think the lockdowns were probably lucky for me because it made me kind of buckle down. And then as we get bigger, you start to hire people to buy back time. So then you kind of got to keep growing and stuff. So I think it was more luck. It definitely wasn't planned. Just luck, and it's probably a ton of hard work as well, because, you know, in lockdowns, I was blessed to be able to work like 14, 16 hours a day and no one was fucking bothering me. There was nothing else to do. Yeah.
That's one thing I love to highlight, man. And with all of the MVP Fridays that we've had now, I'm trying to search, because I've been searching ever since your mentor Charlie said about it, you know, about leverage versus just hard work. And I haven't found anyone yet that hasn't put in just that tremendous amount of work at the start. Yeah. Maybe if you can describe, man, that 12, 14, 16-hour days that you did to get this, what it is now, off the ground.
Yeah, it was sick, actually. It was fucking good times. So we're actually living at my wife's mum's house at the stage, like when everything happened with lockdown, we're like move home with mummy, which was sick. So I'd get up at 4 a.m. and then I'll do my marketing plan. So I actually ran the same Inner Circle marketing plan that you guys get access to, but I just did it for my business. And I'd crank out that would be like kind of an hour. And then at the stage, I hadn't sold the gyms then. So I'd go down to the gym at like 5 to 6:30 and have a lift. And then essentially I'll just like come back and work. So, you know, at the start, it was a mix of, I was doing all the coaching, all the consulting, all the email and deliveries, and also the sales. So pretty much from like kind of like 8:30 in the morning till 6, there was no calendar space in my diary. So everything was booked out. But one of the things that I kind of knew is like with sales calls or coaching, sometimes people don't turn up. So I'd usually always get like an hour, hour and a half free in the days and stuff. And then overnight, I'd kind of finish work at 6:30. And then, as a lot of you guys know at the time, Inner Circle was very email based and question based. So then I'd reply to all my emails until like kind of 7:38 and go to bed and just wake up and do it again. And it was funny because I was very fit. I was very healthy then. And it just became like a part of life for maybe like 5 to 6 months. At least it was pretty good. It was really fucking enjoyable times. Very fun. Yeah.
Yeah, mad, bro. Yeah. So everyone I'm seeing, man, there's no one that has escaped that initial grind. And like a lot of the fitness industry, and my biggest thing that I hate about the fitness industry is the word sustainable, because it implies that there's no real effort, no real change. It's just this, you know, sort of mediocre approach to stuff. And you have a non-mediocre, you have an exceptional result that has been started with exceptional momentum at the start of your business. And so that 14 to 16 hours, bro, now you look back on it, and I guess we can dive into it a bit later. Now you look back on it, would you change anything about that?
No, I loved it. Like even now, like as our business has got bigger and I've had more time, I realized I hate free time. You know, I've done the stuff where I go, you know, just like even a couple months ago, I was like playing golf and shit on like a Wednesday, and it made me depressed. I'm like, what type of man? No offense to anyone, but I'm like, that's not what like a powerful male does, who's like leading his family, like fucks around and shit. So I love it. I'll do it again in an instant. And I really love being busy. I love working. You've got to have balance. But if you like truly love business, like it shouldn't really be an issue, right? It's like, whatever, let's get it done.
Fucking notes. Yeah. And so, bro, one of the big things though is like now you've got 50 people in Inner Circle, you've busted your ass, you've sort of got it off the grounds. Now you got 500 or so members. You know, you've built multi-7-figure business. What's the difference between the hard work then and the hard work now, and how have you changed what you're doing so that you can scale this to a bigger level?
Yeah, that's a really good question. All the hard work now is dealing with our staff, inspiring and motivating them. So training them, mentoring them, guiding them, and then decisions. So, you know, when your business is like, you know, smaller at 50 members, you can make decisions really quick and just change stuff. But now, say, for example, if we want to change the pricing of the Inner Circle, it takes us about 2.5 weeks to execute. You know, and in before I'd be like, oh, it's 50. And then I could call Carlos at 12. And then at 1 o'clock, I'm like, hey, Dom, now it's 75 a week. Like you can make changes really quick. And also just the decision making. So one of my problems that I do have is I make decisions really quickly and really rapidly. But now the decisions that I make influence, up to we've got about 700 people across all of our brands. So it affects like all of our stakeholders, our staff, people's families and stuff. So it's got to be really slow and calculated. And now I just pretty much just deal with our staff and manage them. And rather than actually, I don't do too much client facing stuff anymore, which, is what it is, but it's a little bit sad at times as well.
Yeah, for sure, bro. And like, I guess, man, like I've seen it firsthand, like you've definitely the switch to leadership and team stuff and also the stuff you're trialing, like on the advice of sort of Charlie, and that it's awesome to see it filtered down. And like, you can just see it impacts me so much, and then it will impact, everyone inside Mumbo. It impacts everyone across the whole organization, which is pretty cool. But obviously, bro, like beyond, I guess, working on yourself and your own skill set around that, you have a fucking incredible team. And probably the first thing, man, like when I first came on to sort of work for you and then we started to build Mumbo, I was like, how is this guy running this team of VAs? How is he? I could not figure it out. It blew my mind, man. I was sitting there literally thinking, I am fucking dumb as shit. That's how I felt. I was like, I'm just so out of my league here. And, watching you be able to manage these teams and get the most out of, a virtual assistant stuff is definitely one of the reasons why you're so successful now. So how do you sort of do that? And I guess maybe from the starting perspective of like where you were at the 50, so that, 50 to say 200 clients, how did you get a VA team to sort of help you grow there? And then how did the VA team that you've got now sort of work to that multi-seven figures?
Yeah, so when we we're kind of starting out, I had two VAs. So one was like a messaging VA. So her name was Charlotte at the time, and we went through a few of them. So when we're kind of managing the messaging VAs as such, you've got to build a system that is repeatable and gets results. So I was like pretty lucky. I'm not sure. I don't remember clearly, but I was probably able to get 20 sales bookings a week by myself in those times. So then what I did is hired a VA, trained the system with them that had already gotten, 100, 150, 200 bookings. And then we, depending on the role, but in a messaging VA, we latch in daily accountability and daily training to upskill them. And then pretty much we just onboard them for 2 weeks and then, let them go on their accounts. And then with the executive assistant, whose name's Cleo, and that's always been Cleo. He's been with me for about 4 years as such. He was hired to look after all the stuff that really burns my energy, like replying to emails, getting emails, dealing with customer feedback, shit that happens, Dylan, of someone be like, oh, what do I get in the program? And I'm getting these emails and just shit like that happens in a business. So he deals with all of that stuff. Because if I hear of something something not working, it just drains the fuck out of me. So then he kind of has my back. And then that was the same. He took a long time to onboard, because Cleo he can run our company. If I, break my leg today, Cleo will step in as CEO as of tomorrow. So that's taken many years to train. But initially, I just had a list of 3 things that I didn't want to do, which was emails, any customer service, and dealing with any cancels. So we hired him for that. And then he built out, all the other things, over time.
Yeah, sick, man. And so sort of marketing and sales, obviously, that's the most important thing up until essentially where you're at right now. So how did you, I guess, stay focused with the marketing and sales to get to that $3 million mark? What was the key things you had to make sure happened? And then also how are you now able to do that across multiple channels, multiple platforms, and still bringing in, anywhere between, 50 to 100 bookings a week through your socials?
Yeah, so I did the marketing in the morning. So first thing, So I believe that marketing is the most important part of every business. So thus it should be the first thing we do every day. So I just kind of like with the marketing, I initially, because I was trying to break into a new market where no one respected me or knew who I was, I just decided to make the most valuable social media accounts. So what I kind of wanted, or what I, endeavored to have at the time, and I still kind of do, some weeks are good, some weeks are bad, but is to make my social media so good that people could just watch it and listen to our podcast and reach the desired result without ever paying me a cent. Because one of the things that I realized in fitness is I could give away the Inner Circle portal today. So, hey guys, everyone fucking have it. But people pay for customization and also like, Carlos, this video is what you need to watch right now. So I just tried to add as much value as possible pretty much across all socials. And, overall that always works like pretty well, I feel.
Yeah, man. And like, I've always like, one of the things I respect massively about you is like, you're always like, I need to earn that trust. I need to earn that authority. And so like, by being humble and also like, nah, I'm going to prove that I'm better than everyone else. Like, you show up every day and do it. And it's something we see over and over and over again of people expecting success without actually giving, anything in the start.
Yeah, it's just kind of framing it. Like, we do a lot of live videos and things like that. And I remember I had a mentor once and I was like complaining about, live videos not getting much reach and reels not getting much reach and stuff, which I'm sure everyone on here has had. And I did a live video once, and I think it had 47 people view it, the live video, which is kind of pretty cool, I guess. But he's like, look, if you calculate that 365 times 47, he's like, you're helping 17,000 people a year. And then at the time, he's like, are you going to be in fitness for the next 20 years? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, well, look, you're going to help over 340,000 people, So sometimes in your posts is like, people go, oh, I want, well, some people say I want 1 million views and stuff like that. But if you break it down, like in a smaller level, so you might do one post and it might help 10 people, but with the compound effect of marketing, you do that every fucking day for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, right? Is you start to create like a movement of people behind you, because one of the things that I think human beings love in marketing is they love people who are consistent, right? Who turn up every fucking day. Right. And if you just do that basic stuff, is like, even if you're not good at marketing and stuff, you're going to probably outperform the 99% of people who don't turn up every day. A bit like in fitness, right? Do you 10,000 steps, you're probably going to be fitter than the person that sits on their ass every day. Same in marketing.
Yeah, man, I might take that, because you always tell me, you're like, you never thought I'd actually make it. Like when I first started in the Inner Circle, you're like, I'm not sure about the Stilling guy. And then I just listened to what you said, just show up every day. And that sort of over time it's just been the number one principle. Like, what we were putting out 3 years ago, even what we were putting out 6 months ago, is day and night.
So bad. I look at some of my old podcasts and shit, and I'm just like, but like, I look back at it and laugh, and it was so bad. It was so poorly planned, guys. If you go back on Fitness Business Secrets, you go back to the first ones, but that was the best bloody effort I could do at that day and that time, right? So, and I think you get better through volume as well, like same as deadlifting. Like, you pick up that bar enough, you're going to get strong. So you do learn by repetition, just boom, 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 and you just naturally get better, even without coaching. You just get better at it.
In the startup phase, man, like probably, let's say your first couple hundred clients, what were probably a couple of mistakes you made and ways you may approach them differently now?
Yeah, so probably it's a really good question, actually. Probably taking on the wrong clients as well. Sometimes, like, sometimes we would like take on people. The worst type of clients in my business, and it's probably the same in yours, is like people who it's like their last chance, like a Hail Mary play. So probably taking on the wrong people is a big one. And definitely for a time there is like, sometimes growing too fast is a bad thing. Like, there were some weeks there, signing up, 30 to 40 people in a week, and it's just like a little bit crazy. Those would probably be the two big ones. So not being selective enough, or not telling people honestly what it takes to like reach their goals, and then growing too rapidly when you do have momentum, because it just messes your onboarding and systems and stuff.
Yeah, man. in that and telling people, you know, what it takes to actually have success, you know, like to get that first 10K, 20K, you know, even 40K a month, what does it actually take?
Marketing and sales skills.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
anything under 7 figures, your problem's marketing and sales. So like,
Mhm.
you know, guys at 40K a month, whether you like it or not, there's shit fucking programs that deliver nothing doing 40K a month. So it's not actually the program. So when you learn how to market and sell, you can actually innovate your program. And we can look at this in any programs that have done. You actually innovate by bringing people through it. So if you're under 40K a month, you just can't market and sell. But a lot of people think it's fucking time management and my program's not good enough and all that kind of shit, but they're just not good at marketing sales.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Cool, bro. So now we're sort of moving forward, man, and like probably cracking. It's been quite an exciting time, and when you've gone now where we're at, like I guess in this, you started to bring on different products, you know, and it's I guess a really cool time, man. And we were down in Adelaide, and we had a couple of good stories there, and I remember.
The casino.
Yeah, the casino was awesome, man. And we were sort of just chilling and chatting. And our good mate Rusty said one thing, and you know, you'd had a couple of beers, you'd had a couple of drinks, and Rusty just said, you know, even though Jimmy's a fucking beast and he's just plowing forward, trying to grow this massive empire, the one thing is he genuinely cares about helping people, and he loves helping people overcome a problem. And so with all of this sort of stuff that you've built out now in terms of like we've got Mamba, you know, we've got ACR, we've got all these different programs in the Circle 2.0, why did they come about?
Because there was like different problems that people had that they needed a little bit of extra help on. So,
Yep.
you know, with like the kind of the base program is, you know, understand some people are like, they just need extra support or extra services. So it all just came from like, you know, client needs and things like that. So then we found a client need. We realized that what we're currently doing in its first iteration doesn't solve that. So then a lot of the services we added on were like done for you stuff, or like a lot of like one-on-one kind of really specific mentoring stuff generally. So we just did it by like listening and chatting to our clients and, you know, realizing where their pains were and then trying to like slot in a solution for them so that they get the best results possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it wasn't
Almost
planned
like,
either. It just kind of happened. Like, I don't know. There's no like, yeah, this could be like really bad advice, but we don't even have a 12-month business plan. Like, I don't even know what's happening in 90 days, right? It's like, we just kind of roll with it. We fill out what we need to. And then, you know, I know in 6 months, it's going to be a problem that we pop up. And then, you know, we can either build that product or we can kind of align with someone to do it. But one of the things that I even do now is in the check-ins in the inner circle, I still read through them. Like I read through 50 a week. So even though I don't get to like talk to the members, I know the pain that they're feeling because it's really important for me. And it's really important for me because I had the issue at Code where I fell out of Love My Business. It's really important that I know the pain of the members, right? Because I'm not feeling that pain anymore. I don't have 20 members and I'm fucking like struggling to, you know, organize dinner. So I try and dig back, find that pain. And then when you can sit in that pain and you can be at that person's level, then either you can make your program better to help, which we just innovated a thing where they get calls now instead of the check-ins, or you can add other products to be like, oh, hey, like, you know, I think this person needs this. Why don't we test it out or however you do it? Yeah.
do you think this innovation could have come at 50 members?
No. Or maybe, but probably not. Like, because at 50 members, like fucking anyone can run a business at 50 members and shit. It was all with me, right? So the product was probably shitter at 50 members, but just because it was with people with me, the owner, was different. So as you get bigger problems kind of happen, or any little problem is just magnified 10 times more now. So maybe, but I probably wouldn't have done it at 50 because I don't like fucking talking to people on the phone. So it probably never would have happened. Now we're bigger. It's like, hey, you guys can have 10-minute calls because like whilst I'll do like 10 a week, I'm like not doing the other 100 and like 290 that got booked yesterday. So
and so that essentially that innovation never would have came without the marketing and sales.
No, wouldn't have happened, and we wouldn't have been able to do all the cool shit we do now because When you have a
Yeah.
bigger business, you have a bigger team. So now we can do really cool stuff, like add more value and stuff. But when you're a one-man band or small, and there's nothing wrong with that, guys, if that's your goal, you just can't do as cool as shit as bigger companies, right? So yeah, don't have the resources.
Yeah, cool. And man, I guess like you've tried and tested a lot of different marketing strategies and this, that, and the other. What do you think has been the most effective over a consistent period of time to grow to where you are now?
Free Facebook group and podcast.
Yep.
Yeah, those are two go-tos, because like we do a lot of stuff on Insta and Facey, which is mad, but then we try to feed a lot of people into the group. And then we've seen tracking lines of our podcast downloads in relation to our revenue, and it's unfucking characteristic how tight it is. Like the bigger the podcast goes, the bigger the revenue grows. It's bonkers. So those two things, which we started pretty early, but those two things are gold, absolute gold. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's almost taking that short form and leading them through the podcast or the free group, and that's just your one marketing funnel, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Like we do a lot of other stuff, but we try to get everyone on the podcast and the free group, because we just know good stuff happens off the back of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool, man. And in terms of that, man, you said probably something that's quite insightful is the line of the revenue growth in line with the podcast. So how do you use the data and the numbers to guide decisions in your business?
So I guess we don't really use that data in anything. I just kind of picked up on it one day. So I was like, I review my business during the whole month of December. I do other stuff, but that's where I review stuff. And I was just like looking at stuff, and I just kind of picked it up. I was like, wow, the podcast grew by 70%, and then our revenue grew by 70%. And I'm like, that's a little bit weird. And then I looked back on it historically. So I just kind of picked up on that, but like, it's not really like the key metrics, I guess, we track. We have the same KPIs as you, like lead, sales, revenue, all that kind of stuff. But it's more something that I just picked up. And, you know, a lot of the stuff in business is like, I like to trust my gut a lot, right? So I was like, hey, this is aligning. It makes sense. When I jump on sales calls with Dom, it's fucking easier if he's listened to the podcast and he's like, I've listened to these episodes. So then we just started to go like a lot more all in on the podcast episodes and quality and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's still coming back to that, just value in advance and trying to solve everyone's problems and let that do the talking for you.
It's pretty powerful. Like someone, you know, if you think about it in reality, like I'm like a kid from the country who like got kicked out of school in year 11. Like my mum passed away. My dad was a drug addict. Like came from fucking nothing. And for me, like there's someone maybe in America listening to the shit that I'm talking for like 20 to 30 minutes is fucking so powerful. It is bonkers, you know, just even that you guys are here listening to me, right? So, and that's what I really love about podcasts, because I like like listening to podcasts as well. Like some of my, I say like friends or mentors, like Joe Rogan, like fucking love Joe Rogan. He's a legend. I've never met him and I might not ever meet him. But it's just really, really powerful. And people often listen to, you know, podcasts when they're training or when they're driving and when they're in like some private, happy areas of their life. So I just think it's so bloody powerful. And I'm so glad I started. And in the first month, I think we got 53 downloads the first month. The second month was like 60. And I'm just so glad I started when I did, because now that we're, you know, 3 years down the line, I've kind of done the, you know, 100 hours kind of stuff. We're actually pretty good at it. I just think I was very lucky to start one early, like really lucky.
Yeah, awesome, bro. And man, like just taking on that about like your childhood and that, did you ever think this is where you'd be, man?
Nah, like, I don't know. No, like I've had like so much like turbulence in my life of like, I thought I was going to play NRL and didn't. You know, like us all on the call, I feel like I've been battered from pillar to post. And, you know, me being a male, I've also done some fucking stupid shit too. So I could never imagine it. Sometimes I just pinch myself, you know. So it wasn't the plan. It wasn't, you know, the outcome. I couldn't visualize it when I was, you know, bouncing around from house to house and, you know, stuff like that. No way. Yeah.
Well, man, and like sometimes people get a bit like put off by some of the successes and, you know, seeing some of the cool shit you've done, bro. But fuck, I think it's super inspiring, man, coming from where you've been and like I'm very fucking similar background to like some of the cool shit you've done, man. What is probably one of the highlights of the cool experiences you've been able to have overseas, whatever, because of what you've done?
I don't know, it's probably a lot. I don't know, I went to Dubai. That was pretty sick. We stayed in like a seven-star hotel, which was like fucking so nice. You had like full-time butlers and shit. We stayed in the desert, which was pretty mad. But yeah, just like a lot of stuff. But like it's still like I went through a phase of like I've done a lot of like luxury stuff, which is really, really cool. You know, and very grateful for that. But still, like some of the best memories of like is like hanging out with you at a fucking bar on that street in Adelaide, just hanging with your boys and shit, you know. So but probably definitely Dubai is like off the charts. Like you guys got to go there.
Yeah.
But I think even when you reflect on it, it's just the people that you get to spend time with through business and stuff like that. Like, you know, I got to hang out with you by a pool in Brisbane last month and drink some Moscow mules. It was boss. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And I like to point that out, bro. And like it's been a fucking awesome just hanging out with you and just doing cool stuff. And even, you know, where I'm at right now, it's always been the things that I really enjoy is actually people and, you know, sort of thinking about it now, like we don't really have to worry about money. But, you know, a lot of guys at the start were talking about, oh, it's a stress I'd like to have, you know, and, you know, there's different stresses. Obviously, where you're at right now, bro, it's a completely different thing, you know?
Yeah, so the stress doesn't subside, guys. So I'm just as stressed now as I was when I was living at my wife's mum's house and we had 20 members in the IC. So it's not like you get to a certain level and you're completely stress-free because you just have different stresses and like staff going away and on holidays and like your staff have kids and you know, someone, you know, thinks your program's really shit or whatever it is. So you still have stresses. So I think if you're looking to build a business to not have stress in your life, you better reality check yourself pretty quickly because even if you work in it like an hour a week or a couple of times, you're going to have obligations to people. And I've never met anyone yet in my life that has a business fully under management where they don't stress, they don't worry about it. Because in reality, it's an asset. But the stresses do get a little bit less powerful, if that makes sense. So you're not stressed if you're going to pay your rent and shit like that. But you have a lot of stresses around other people and performing for them and making sure like one of the big ones at the moment, we've got a guy named Bryce, amazing fucking dude, works in our agency. And like his wife had a kid. And then so as soon as that, we had Bryce and his wife, and now I've got Bryce, his wife, and there's a child that's part of our like inner sanctum that we've got to perform for. So it's like different levels of stress that you encounter as you get bigger, but it's still stressful as a motherfucker. Trust me. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. That's probably the hard things. And like, you know, before COVID, it was just me in my gym. Now we have close to 14 staff. And that becomes a fucking nightmare at times. But I think one of the things is like, you're going down a motorway at 180k an hour. You know, the first time you do that, it's all blurry. You don't know what's going on. You're just hanging on. Then all of a sudden you get used to driving at that speed. You're still going at that speed. You haven't slowed it down, but it's just you're a bit more used to it. You're a bit more comfortable. And I sort of think that's like skill acquisition.
Yeah. And you guys definitely get like used to, you know, handling it. But you know, anyone who says they don't have a business and it's stressful, I think are lying to you guys or trying to sell you some bullshit 10K course straight up. Yeah,
for sure. Cool, bro. So if you were to sort of map out someone who wanted to go from, you know, $0 to a $3 million a year business over the next, let's say 5 to 10 years, what would they do?
Yeah. So like in the initial phase, I'll just tell you what I'll do in the fitness industry to make it like a bit easier. So firstly, I'd coach people in something that I'm really good at or I had achieved myself. So in this case, I'll do something around weight loss body transformations because I was a fatty when I was a kid. Then what I'll do to get initial momentum, I'll use a 14 or 28 day trial. Just depending, I'd probably split test both to be fair and what converts better. selling them into a 24-week program off the back of it. I would start to get momentum where I'm like starting to get positive ROI. You'd be earning, between 5 and probably 25K a month at that stage, just through growing your audience, creating content, and just converting people would be super easy. And then at around that kind of 25 to 35K a month mark is when you'd latch in like all of your paid ad strategies and things like that, because you know how to convert, and you would have gotten rid of that free trial mechanism at that stage because you don't really need it anymore, because you'd have so much social proof, and then just continue to kind of scale from there. Generally around that kind of 30 to 50K a month mark is when you bring on a sales team. So you'd bring on like a closer who would probably be like commission based only, and then you would just kind of continue to scale up from there. So it'd be like a base overview. There's obviously, to go guys from like $0 to $3 million, as you guys probably know, there's about 4,000 systems in there, and 4,000 times going to get kicked in the guts along the way. But that would be like a rough overview. Grow about that 25, 30K a month organically. If you're good at ads, bring that on, and then bring on a closer. Because your sales reps should be the highest paid people in your business. They're the ones that bring the most revenue. And obviously along the way, you'd have VAs and stuff like that. But that would be like a rough overview of how I'd do it. I'd probably focus on getting to 25K a month first, and then you figure out the next steps beyond that.
Yeah. And how would you manage yourself and make the most of your mentors along that way?
So in managing myself, I'll probably say myself and my wife. So at the start, if our business was starting and we had nothing, I'd just tell her to buckle the fuck down and I'm about to make it rain, and not to see me too much. I'd be like, I'll train with you in the morning. I'll do date night. Apart from that, I'm outies. So I'd get her on board with what we're doing for our vision, for our family. And with the mentors, guys, like I've had one mentor, his name's Charlie. I've had him for 5 years. I was actually fucking complaining to him this morning by voice message. I was having a wham baby. Is your mentors, depending what type of relationship you have with your mentors, but with me, complete vulnerability, complete honesty at all levels. So with my mentor, Charlie, I send him, I meet him every Tuesday for an hour at 11:30. So I send him an email of what happened in our business, what's kind of stressing me out, where we're going and stuff. He knows my personal finances. He knows my business finances. He knows our company goals. He kind of knows everything about us. And when you find a really good mentor, is stay with them for a very, very long time until you have conquered what they have done in their business. So a lot of people will find a mentor, and they might have a really good mentor who had like a 7-figure fitness business, and then they fucking get themselves to 8K a month, and then they leave the mentor. And it's like, like you still have 400,000 lessons to go. So about 2.5 years ago, I actually promised Charlie, I was like, he doesn't do contracts or anything like that. It's just month to month. I go, I promise you, I will not leave you until I own more properties than you and my business is bigger than you. And this is coming from a guy. So Charlie, I think, earned in excess of $100,000 for like 60 straight months or some shit. So then when you look at it, it's like I've still got probably another 10 or 15 years to go. That's to learn what he has learned. That's providing he doesn't learn anything fucking new in the next 10 to 15 years. So communicate with them really well. Tell them your biggest fears, your biggest anxieties. He knows if I'm fighting with my missus, like he knows, go, hey man, Jess and I are fucking having stupid fights about this. I tell him fucking everything, and especially about the business. And then, when I found the right mentor, someone I vibed with, I just promised him I'd never leave him until I conquer him. And I hope I do conquer him one day, but I also kind of don't, because I don't want my hero to fall, if that makes sense. I don't want to ever outbeat him, which I don't think I will. Like, he just bought another 2 properties last week, right? So it's going to be pretty difficult. But yeah, stay with them, guys. If you find a mentor, it might be me, it might be Dylan, it might not be, but just do not leave. Like that is suicide to your business, because you have so much goodwill with that mentor and stuff. And I just promised him I'd never leave him until I am bigger than him, or bigger than him in business and stuff, which if you're with the right mentors, will never happen. Yeah,
absolutely, man. I think that one insight is probably something, and I think it's something that if the sooner people learn, the better. And I truly believe, like, if I'd have learned that in my 20s rather than my mid-30s, sort of when I came and met you, I would be fucking 10 times ahead of where I was.
Yeah, and also I think a lot with mentors, there's a lot of different styles of coaching out there as well. So, when I was younger, I used to love group coaching programs. So you jump in, there'd be like 20 people on a call about Facebook ads. I used to froth it. Now I couldn't think of anything worse. You know what I mean? So now I really like one-on-one mentoring, and there's programs where you can meet 4 people at once. So try and find out the different mentoring you have. Generally, the more you do one-on-one, the more you pay. But in reality, if you get a better result, if you get a better connection, and you're like, I just want to talk about my shit, I don't want to hear about anyone else's shit on a call, then, you go towards that kind of one-on-one route. But you kind of got to test that along the way. Yeah.
Yeah, bro, man. Cool. So man, like crack the 3 mil mark, it's sort of one of those milestones that, a lot of entrepreneurs sort of talk about because you're sort of there, but you're at the start now. You're at the start of the next round. Where to from here?
Yeah. So one of the flows that happen in business is so firstly, you can't generate enough leads. So it's like a marketing issue, then it's a sales issue, then it's a delivery issue, then it's an operational business issue. So where we're kind of at right now is our sales and our operations, our delivery. We're working heavily on the delivery of our products right now. We're ratcheting everything up. So at the moment, Dill, we're overhired for where we need to be in business. But I need to refine in every single product to make it world class, to make it a little bit better than what it is. And then we have to go back around. And at the moment, we average 71 sales bookings a week, but that I'll have to improve my marketing skills or the output of our company to be able to get in excess of 120 bookings. So right now it's at my most hated part of business where you're improving products. I've got to do our whole portal. I'm retraining. Dylan and I were doing some management training and stuff to ratchet everything up to kind of to go again. So I guess it's just knowing like where you're at in business and what kind of part. And then you just move sector on sector. So once we fix up all the delivery and the operation side, then we just ramp up the marketing again. When we ramp up the marketing, then we're going to have to improve our sales systems again. And then you're just going to keep going through until you just keep scaling up. So I'm kind of excited for it at the moment. I'm just like, when I wake up every morning, I just write down a notepad, like make the best programs in the world. So we're just really focused on the delivery of our programs and stuff. Because as I said, guys, we're about to pump a lot more people through. So when you do that, any little 5 or 10% error that comes through at 5 people a week, when 15 come through, it just can crush your soul because it just gets magnified. So that's kind of what I'm doing at the moment. And then hopefully that'll be done during the month of May, early August. And then we get to do all the fun shit towards the end of the year, which is just grow the sucker again, which I like. I just like marketing stuff. So yeah.
I love that, bro. And like right now, I'm in the same fucking boat, but it's like we're in that middle part where it's like it's the work part, and like it's fun at the start of this year. We're like, all right, let's fucking put a rocket under this. And now it's like, okay, go back, refine, relook at it. And then you said you get the fun part. So like for a lot of guys, I guess, understanding that middle part, how do you master that?
Like the marketing and sales or the operations bit, or what do you mean? Sorry.
Just holding your shit while you're in this part right now. Like you said, it's the hard part, the part you don't enjoy, but how do you actually enjoy it and wake up going to work to actually do it? How do you wake up with the enthusiasm to actually get it done?
So sometimes, guys, in business, you've got to act like a chameleon and pretend like you love something even though you don't. So I say I don't like what I'm doing. I don't like training my team, and I'll say that. And I say that to them as well. I don't love it, but I've got to wake up, and that's the person I need to be today. Right now, for the next 6 weeks, I need to fucking improve my products. I need to dive in. I need to do it. So in your business, unless you want to outsource it, which you can do, of course, is like, I want to build the products. I want to know what's happening in all of them. So you just got to do it, even though you don't love it. I just wake up every day and go, this is Jimmy I need to be today, until I go for a swim, like Dylan taught me to switch off and put my relationship hat on, and you just act like a different person. Yeah. I don't know. There's no answer, but you just put the fucking hat on. That's why I wear hats, because I wear hats a lot because it signals that I'm at work. And then I'm like, this is the person I need to be today. And that'll be different to the person I need to be in 3 weeks. And you just kind of, roll through it. Yeah.
And that, I
I know
think
that's
that is
probably
the
not the
answer,
answer you
man.
wanted, but that's the truth.
No, it
Yeah.
actually is the answer. Like, and it's like, all the Brendan Bouchard work I've done, all of those guys, it's like, that's it. You just, who do I need to be right now? And then you show
It's
up as that person. Yeah.
it's really hard. Like it's really
It's
hard to
fucking
do it.
hard.
Like it took me a while to learn.
Yeah.
But I've kind of learned to love it. Is one of the hardest things if you guys scale your business is at the start you're like the marketer and you deliver it, then you'll probably be the salesperson for a bit. And then you're constantly changing hats and changing roles.
Mhm.
And it's like really, really difficult. It used to take me like 2 to 4 weeks to get my head around because I'd have all these ego things and I'd feel a bit funny, but now I could just change. I'm so blessed I can change roles or what I do in an instant. But it took a while to learn that, like probably like 8 years to be able to chock and change and not be attached to the person I am at business. That isn't me. Like the person I am talking to you guys here today, that's not the person Dylan sees when we have beers and stuff, right? But it's a person I have to be at work. So I just kind of learned to like turn the switch on. Like it's like when you're at work, it's like fucking showtime. You know what I mean? It's time to switch it on, and you're just not sure what type of movie you're fucking starring role in today. It could be a bit different every day.
That's what makes it fun, bro.
It does. It makes it interesting. That's for sure. Some
Good
days
choice of
funner than
words.
others. Yeah.
All right, brother. Man, so final question I always ask this, when it's all said and done, bro, probably 50 years from now, when you hang up the hat and you've done everything you wanted to do in the fitness industry space, what would they say about your career?
I hope people just say that I gave them more value than what they paid me in money. Do you know what I mean? So I think I just want people to look back and go, whatever they did with us, I go, fuck, like, I learned a lot of things from Jimmy. He helped me. He was really honest. And, that was really, really valuable, the time that I had with him. And some people, we spend time with them for a month. Some of the private clients I've worked with, I'm so blessed to have had them for up to 5 years now, so just that I added value to their life. And that's not always, helping someone getting a result. Sometimes it's just as simple as changing their mindset or, sharing a lesson or two here and there. So I hope they say that. Yeah. And that I was like a fucking beast, hard worker and consistent as well, just like he made it rain.
Yeah. Nah, awesome, bro. Man, I appreciate your time. And thank you for those insights and thank you for fucking everything, to be honest, bro. Yeah. What a journey,
bro.
It's good.
I love it. Dom, brother,
Dom had a question.
I've got, you can shoot it over, bro. I just put my mobile number in the chat if you want to buzz me. So I just got a call in like 3 minutes. So if we don't cover it, Dom, just call me this Arvo. My missus is out, so I'm free all fucking Arvo, dude. But what's on your mind, Dom, in case we don't cover it?
I suppose my question, you said about about growing in terms of marketing, and this is a conversation I've had with Leah and with Dylan in the past, is I suppose language in terms of how I'm a blunt fucker. I mean, and that's just me. So that being a detriment, right?
Yeah. So like, so you asking me whether you should swear or not, whether you should like talk the way you do? Is that what you're going? Yeah, I think just like always be yourself. But if you look at your own content, it's if you ever look back on it and you're like, there's been some content, because I swear a lot, guys, as you probably picked up. If you look back on it, and I don't have kids, but if I wouldn't like my kids to look at that. It's such a funny frame I put it through, Dom. I'm going to show you how I put it through. But I'm like, if I wouldn't want my son or my daughter to look at my content like that, then I'll adjust. I don't really like to delete stuff. And obviously you've got kids, man, but as long as like they can look at their dad and, you're saying your beliefs and, you don't give a fuck that they see you talking like that, then don't let anyone tell you what to do with content. That's the way I do it anyway. I swear a lot. Like we have some people in the IC who are like, we can't listen to your podcast with like, the kids in the car. And I'm like, well, from my perspective, I'm like, hey, I wouldn't care if like, my son or daughter listened to that. So granted, it's your kids. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but that's how I run it through, man. Like in 10 years, when they see what daddy was doing, because they're going to find out what you were doing, especially on your YouTube and shit, it's there forever. As long as you're down for it, then just keep rolling it. And I personally really like your content. Like you would be someone that I would hire as an online coach. You're a fucking beast. I love it.
Yeah. I know the kids, I've been like this since the kids were born, because the reality is,
Like,
if they can hear it from me, mate, they're going to hear worse in the playground. And the fact that they're 17 and 21 now. So
yeah, they are going to hear worse. And like, I think it's just a good frame to kind of put it through.
Okay.
Or like your grandma or something like that, whatever, guys. So
even my mum's used to it too. So
yeah, it does make you stand out. Like Tony Robbins swears, right, in his content. Unleash the warrior within, or unleash the power within. He swears to get attention and stuff. So does Gary Vee. But just as long as you're cool with it, and as long as you're cool with, you know, people who love and care about you a lot more than, you know, your clients do, looking at it and you're not minding, then just do whatever the fuck you want, bro. You're the boss.
all good.
Yeah. Easy. Guys, thank you so much. I'm really sorry I got to duck off. I got a few coaching calls, which I love. So I still do some coaching calls with you guys, just because it makes me really happy. It makes me more connected. So I better jump off because I hate when people are late. If you guys have any questions, you'll find me in the group. I did just put my personal phone number in there. So if you want to text me, if you have anything, feel free. Just use it wisely. Don't ask me stupid shit. But if you have a question that you want me to help you with, or you want me to buzz you, I just want to be really approachable for you guys, so you can reach out to me absolutely anytime that you want. 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. is usually when I walk at the moment. So you get me in my good mood time if you ever want to call me. That's Sydney time. Okay. Bye-bye, guys.
Cheers, guys. All right, have a good day. See ya.